Oh man, this is more like it. I was gonna stay up in Ventura, but it was just so windy and so cold up there. And so it was 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I thought, all right, well, I could go north, to some other city and check that place out, or I could take advantage of it being 8 o'clock at night and try to get back to LA, and then get south of LA and be able to get all that done without having to deal with heavy traffic. So it actually worked really good. So I drove from there to about 10:30 at night, to kind of get near, I'm trying to think what's the name of it. I'm right near Riverside and San Bernardino. I was told not to go to San Bernardino though, and just to drive through at best, because it's kind of a rough area. So I'll probably do that. And then I want to go to Palm Springs. That's another really famous. I don't know. I know it's starting to get out into the desert, so it's really hot. I just like the subcultures of that kind of stuff, to where it's like I can just go to Palm Springs and experience the desert. I don't know if it's just going to be really dry and tumbleweeds and everything else, or what it's going to be like. So looking forward to it. So let's go take a tour. I'll tell you though, this is really nice. You wake up in the morning and it's just beautiful, man. Definitely in the LA area, and maybe even south of LA, seems like that's the more perfect weather is what I'm seeing. So yeah, I woke up this morning and it just kind of has that light fog. I don't know if you can see the mountains in the distance, see the kind of the fog in between it, and that'll burn off over the day, and then in a few hours time you'll be able to see the mountains better, just because all the fog has been burned off, and then the day continues just to be a beautiful day. So yeah, I definitely see why people like LA, that's for sure. Something UMA University over there, that's some medical university. I drove by that last night coming over here. But I mean, it's such a huge city that, look at this bail bonds place. I walked by there to get my coffee this morning. There's like 5 work vehicles that say bail bonds. I don't know if they drive to court to bail people out with the vehicles or something, and then the huge building. So usually, from what I'm used to, a bail bonds is like this tiniest little junkiest little office, with no, vehicles that have the name stickered all over the side of them and stuff. So that must be big business in a big city. So man, back when I was broke, I remember having to clean pools for a while, and at first I thought it was kind of cool. You go into these really cool places and you just clean the pools and stuff, and just travel around. You got no boss or anything. It's like, all right. So it wasn't really that bad. But over time, I did it for like 6 weeks, and then over time I thought, this is for the birds, man. There was certain times people's dogs would be barking at me and stuff, and it was just ridiculous. So anyways, for old time's sake, let's go take a look at some pools getting clean. So I mean, some people, it's a hustle for them, and they make a living at it, but I did it and I did not enjoy it. I like selling online much better. But look at that. There's leaves all over the place. Now it's looking clean. There was 2 people. I don't know where the other guy went. But they take the hose right there and put it down into the hole right there, and it creates suction, and then it just sucks all the junk from the bottom right into the hole right there, which brings it right into the filter. So that's really actually the cheap way to do it. The real professionals, they have it's called a hammerhead is what it's called, and it's just a machine that goes in there and cleans, rather than having to pull that hose out every time, having to wrap the hose up when you're done every time. It's a kind of a nightmare doing it that way. But so he's gonna sit there and vacuum the whole bottom of the pool. So anyway, just for old time's sake, I had to take a little video of that. But I'm excited. I want to go check out the areas talking about earlier. So it's gonna be fun. All right, got a shower, got some coffee, feeling awake. Your tour guide's ready to go. Ready to rock. I only drank 2 beers last night, so I saw those pool guys and I was like, Cuatro cerveza? And that means 4 beers, you know? And I pointed up to my room and he's like, you speak Spanish? So Spanish people love it when you know how to speak their language, which I know very little, but I didn't know that. And so anyways, I gave him some beers because otherwise they'd just be wasted sitting in the fridge. So I did my good deed for the day. All right, let's go check out of this place. This is a Motel 6, and in the background you'll see these steps. These are not exactly clean, but it was $81 instead of almost $300 that I spent on the last one. So I just wanted to get out of it with one cheap hotel. The next hotel tonight, I'll probably pick a nice spot. All right, I'm out of there. I didn't want to record while I was in there, but I asked her which way to go to get to Palm Springs because I didn't want to switch off this camera and do the Google Maps and figure it out. Then it messes up my camera. Then I can't start and stop the video. So, next clip is probably going to be rolling into Palm Springs. All right, I was on my way and I saw a Big Bear exit, and I know that's a real big tourist destination for a lot of people. It's a lake up here in the mountains, and this is really amazing. I don't know if it shows up in the video, but this is just crazy awesome. I mean, look at it, it's flat and then all of a sudden mountains. It's just awesome. And then over here, I think those are forest fires going off. That can't be clouds. No, that's not clouds. That's definitely a forest fire going on. So I may try to go check that out because it looks quite a ways away, but I don't really think that's that far away. I think that's only maybe, I don't know, maybe 8 miles away or something like that, I'm guessing. So, but man, this is beautiful. This is awesome. I know Big Bear Lake is elevated because I've heard stories about there being snow up there, and people got snowed in for like 3 weeks one time and stuff, and that's why people were always saying just to be prepared and everything, because people were literally dying up there because they didn't have food or water or anything. So many people in the world are just so unprepared. You know, they're just, you know, you never want to be sitting there with your pants down if you can help it. I mean, that's just a really vulnerable position to be in. It's foolish. So anyways, but yeah, that's what happened. They were rescuing people just for the fact that people just didn't have any reserves to stay warm, any firewood, anything. They were just sitting there really vulnerable. And I see that so much. Like I go into a gas station and people are paying with quarters or something, you know, and it's just like, if something happened to those people, they're done, you know, and they're getting money from the government too. So what if their check didn't come in, you know? It's crazy. Look out for yourself, people. It's very wise advice. All right, here we go. North Big Bear. We should be climbing up the mountains. You know, in your mind, you always think to yourself, California is just wedged, you know, just packed full. Which, I mean, there is a lot of people here. There's like, trying to remember how many people are here. I know it's like a third more than Florida, but it's a bigger state too. So anyways, but I believe this is Highland or right near Big Bear anyway. But I saw something about Highland School, so I believe this is like Highland or Highland Park or something. But kind of a neat area, but not like a really super high-end area. I mean, you know, there's people selling tamales and you know, there's just, you know, cheap cars for sale, you know, just stuff like that. It looks like there's a trailer park to my left. You can see like lots of people are living in like one home and stuff like that. So this is not a rich area. It's not like super packed, but it's kind of at the base of that mountain that you saw earlier. I'm kind of going the other direction because I wasn't able to get up to Big Bear. They had the entire highway shut off because of that forest fire. So I don't know what people do, like if they live up there or something and they need to get up to their house. I don't know what to say. They have the entire thing blocked right off. And so anyway, it's just really neat to see it firsthand that it's not completely packed like you would think it would be. So yeah, there's land out here. So I suppose I'm gonna look for Palm Springs. Anyway, oh man, I heard a funny joke, but you have to know a little Spanish to understand this joke. But what do you call 4 Mexicans sinking in quicksand? I'll give you a second. All right, you don't know the answer? It's cuatro cinco. Anyway, hope you're laughing. Let's see. Yeah, I can tell we're going up into elevation a little bit, so we're headed to the desert. So evidently we're gonna be going over a small mountain range, I'm guessing, or through a valley, and then we're coming up on Beaumont, and the forest fires earlier are way over here, so you can tell. See all that? So you can tell I've been going east along that mountain range. So once we come out the backside of the mountain range, then it's going to be desert. And so I'm expecting it to be really hot. That's why I put my tank top on. So, but I mean, it's nice right now. It's probably 75, no wind. The sun's, you know, beating out all the fog. You know, you can see the mountains so much better than you could see earlier at the hotel. Look at that. So from what I've heard and what I've experienced, it does that every day, you know, and that's why it doesn't rain either. You get that condensation. There's a certain word for it. I can't remember what it's called, but I call it condensation, fog. All right, about 20 miles to Palm Springs. So that squeaky noise is me going over the road. I don't know what that's all about. But yeah, this thing has driving assist. So if I don't put my blinker on and try to switch lanes, it kind of fights me and doesn't want to let me switch lanes. But yeah, you know what a lot of people don't realize, and I learned this in Costa Rica. I didn't really think about it much, but elevation makes such a huge difference. You know, I mean, like if you were gonna go up, say 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet, it would be quite a bit cooler. You know, so like for instance, Florida. If Florida had any mountain at all, and you could get elevation, 2,000-3,000 feet of elevation, it would be cooler up there. You know, I mean, in Costa Rica, we were basically, that's right on the equator, to where it's just as hot as it's gonna get. You know what I mean? That's the hottest spot in the world, is the equator. And if you go up in the mountains on the equator, it gets cold and rainy and everything else. So you're actually kind of in the clouds, above the clouds. So you know, if you were to go up in these mountains right now, it would definitely be cooler out. So, but yeah, this is neat. This is really open. And it doesn't seem like there's any farms or anything like that. You know, to the north where I went yesterday, there was definitely a lot of, you know, I don't know if it was wine country or if wine country's even farther north than that, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of growth. You know, there's really not a whole lot growing on any of these. I don't know if the mountains are just because they're all rock, or if they just don't get enough rain or what, but it is neat. I'll try to get a close-up of the landscape when I get up close to one of these mountains. Man, look at that view on the left. And then look at the view on the right. Wow. And they look different than each other too. Wow, look at that wind farm. It goes on for miles. Wow, look at that. It just keeps going. And it looks like, look at that. All up on that mountain too. Which that seems smart, be up there on that mountain. Wow, there's so many of them. They look all organized, but really, if you look at them from the side, look, they're all in a row. So the wind must just come through this valley right here, and they're just capturing all the wind. Obviously, there's not much going on right now with wind, but man, this is unbelievable. I've never seen so many of them. I've seen them in Ohio before, but not like this. Wow, this is incredible. This is all new to me. I've never experienced this before. I've traveled a lot of places, but I've never been to the desert. You can start seeing it, like, I don't know if you can see on the left side there. It's just, yeah, it's definitely starting to look like desert. You know, just the bushes and everything. It must just never rain here, or it's just scorching hot, or there's no water around to mediate the temperatures or something. I'm not sure why, but yeah, look at this. Off-road quads. Ah, man. Wow. Look at that. I don't know if it's too steep to ride a quad up there. I think it is. That looks pretty straight up to me. Man. Look at that. There's tons more on the left side. They're really making use of those wind farms, that's for sure. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. Adventure Drive. I wonder if that means I can drive up into the mountains right there. That'd be kind of neat. Well, I'll keep going and see what happens. Welcome to Palm Springs. I really expected the desert to be more like just the mountains behind me, and then it just completely flat in front of me. That's kind of what I expected, but it's just seems to be in a valley. But I'm gonna keep driving east, and until I get to where it becomes flat, and because there's a mountain range, and then it just stops, from what I understand, and just becomes flat, just desert, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. But anyways, this concludes Palm Springs tour. Hola.